Mr. Venu is still with us, managing editor of the Financial Times, and we're being joined by Surjit Bhalla as well. Mr. Venu, before I come to you, actually, before I go to Surjit, let me just ask you, Mr. Venu, now just minutes to go for that verdict to come up. I guess once again, those arguments that I just read out, is there anything that particularly grabs your eye? And then, in a sense, what everyone is saying is right to a sense. Anil Ambani says, you signed a contract and you should honor it. Mukesh Ambani is saying, yes, but that production sharing comes in first. So it's not that anyone is saying something which is not, in some sense, correct. And that's why this is such a complex case.
Yeah, Vikram, as you rightly said, there is a contract between two brothers, part of the family settlement. Now, that's what Bombay High Court essentially looked at. And there is a government which says it fixed a price, the EGOM fixed a price of $4.2. Now, I don't necessarily see any contradiction between these two. If there's a contract, the contract can be honored. For that contract to be honored, that can be looked at separately. This $4.2 that the government, the EGOM set the price at, is also valid. So, but what needs to be looked at here is how going forward. Vikram, there is this. It's not just these two players, and it's not just 40 MMSCND. There's a huge amount of gas, much more on the KG basin. I'm told it could go up to some 17 trillion cubic feet, upward of $50 billion. Now there has to be a way out to figure out how going forward the government will discover price, market determined, or what methodology will it adopt, and how will it get allocated to a vast number of companies. And mind you, you talked about RNRL and RIL. It's not just these two companies. There are a host of power companies which are waiting for this judgment, because they also have gas-based power, and their stocks will also be affected by this judgment, depending on which way it goes. Because if it goes the RNRL way, and if RNRL gets $2.34 gas at 2.34, then the other power companies will get negatively impacted, because they'll have to buy gas at the market price. So there's a gap between the current market price and the 2.34. It's 44% of the current market price, or whatever, at the price that the government decided. So a whole lot of other companies, other sectors, fertilizer sector, their fate hinges on this. So it's actually really a much bigger issue than just between the two brothers.
Actually, now that you mentioned being just between the two brothers, we just heard Arun Kejriwal a short while back taking an interesting point that, which I'm sure many shareholders are saying, that essentially if this is a family settlement between two brothers, why should shareholders or the country or anybody else get affected? Is that at all a possibility that, a decision is taken and, in a sense, the brothers should figure out what happened in their private agreement? So perhaps a decision one way or the other and damages of some sort. Is that at all a possibility?
Yeah, to my mind, that's the only way that the family dispute can be resolved, Vikram, only by the two brothers. That cannot be. I don't know what the courts can do. Maybe the Supreme Court possibly can maybe reiterate some parts of the Bombay High Court judgment in regard to just the family settlement. Now, but mind you, Vikram, just remember the family settlement also talks about not the entire KG basin gas to be divided in the ratio of 60-40 between the two brothers. Now that will not be palatable to the government, because the government, that's why government has stepped in to say that they have a sovereign right over the resources, and how these resources should be used in our country through a certain prioritized mechanism, first to fertilizer, then to power companies. So there are in the family agreement also there are clauses which may not be palatable to the government. That's the sense I get.
Okay.
Tuba.com